Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's gonna be SharpenedEdge, a razor sharp Protoss bot, gonna be taking on BenBotBC. The BC, of course, standing for battle cruisers. And yeah, it's going to be a TVP, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match between these two, as the rules in bot games are very, very different. I just recently played another match against Eris, and it really is something playing versus the bots, because they don't play like people, and they don't play like the default AI. And so, yeah, you guys can actually play versus these bots if you use the link in the description down below. There's a really great tutorial down there. Before we get too far into this one, though, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. We've got BenBot plopping down a supply depot in the middle of its natural wall. BenBot likes to go for its walls. Of course, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you guys want to see more of these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them. And SCV is chasing this probe down, doing a little wobble, chasing after that probe. A Marine pops out, but it will not get that probe unless the probe makes some seriously bad life choices. It does actually make some seriously bad life choices, and elects to go back inside the main base. We do have a Zealot out for starters for SharpenedEdge, so that's not something we see every day from Protoss players or bots, because, I mean, the Zealot, it is quite a big commitment early on. And actually going to be a second Zealot on the way for SharpenedEdge, which is interesting, seeing as how it does have that Cyber Core done. So that is just a lot of early game muscle. Not exactly the most microable, though, but it's not too common for you to see a bot just micro perfectly and exploit something like a Zealot opening, because if it's a human player, they're going to send a Reaper across the map or whatever, or a Cyclone, and say, hey, that's a Zealot, I can just kite that and kill it. Let alone two Zealots to open up with. So it's not too big, but then a bot isn't necessarily going to do that because they don't really see the big picture. We've got a Widowmine on the way for BenBot, going to be sending that towards the natural base. BenBot really likes to get up its defensive walls, which is probably a good thing against SharpenedEdge, which is a bot that does tend to go for gateway pushes. And I'll actually read the description of some of these bots. If you give me 1 second, I'll just pull that up. I closed the tabs, unfortunately. But fortunately, these bots are both high up on the ladder, so I'm able to pull them up. SharpenedEdge is a Protoss bot, of course, that's programmed in Python. The name for SharpenedEdge comes from the company name SharpenedEdge Studios Oi. The company name comes from a private joke when he had a World of Warcraft guild back in Vanilla WoW. It was created in 2015. Placed third. It was actually played at a LAN event in Helsinki. Then it played versus Cyril, actually, at that live event, which is very cool. And SharpenedEdge has won a couple of Probot matches. There's a lot more on the design of it, but you guys can read that whole thing down below if you like. BenBot for now is just chilling, turtling up, getting up that delayed natural compared to what the timing of a normal natural is. All these depots in the bunker do not come cheap. BenBot itself is a Java bot programmed by LaughNgamez. Achievements: Probots 2024 Season 1 Final, second place 2020, so BenBot's been around a while. It says the bot's main focus is to build a lot of battle cruisers. Who'da thunk it? Everything is created from scratch using Java and OCraft SC2 interface. It saves some game results and uses this info to decide which build order to use. I'm wondering how... I'm not... Because BenBot always gives us a chat tag for what it's doing, which does make sense, because sometimes it goes for a proxy. which is actually very cool because something like going for a proxy works very well against some bots versus not very well against others. So if BenBot stores that info, because we have seen BenBot in the past go for like a single racks bunker contain, and that kills some bots. So that's actually very cool, getting that info from BenBot, because it kind of infers that whatever build BenBot is doing is the best build for BenBot. It's the best build that it has against its opponent. I think that's fairly safe to say. Blink is on the way for for SharpenedEdge. That's just about done. The Protoss bot is making no clear signs of going for a big attack or anything like that. It's just firing up charge, getting up a third base. BenBot, however, does have its third base building inside the main base, so it's not exactly so much quicker for SharpenedEdge. And we are starting to see SharpenedEdge move out on the map. Stalkers are going to find that Hellion. They don't blink on top of it, so I guess SharpenedEdge blink is defensive, which makes more sense. It's much easier to program blinking away than when it's a good idea to blink in. And that's exactly what we see. Is these Stalkers, they start to eat some tank shots. They are trying to pull out of the range of the tank, however, like most bots, SharpenedEdge having a bit of a tough time dealing with that siege tank, and BenBot's defensive walls are they're just impossible to break through for the most part. SharpenedEdge behind this, though, is firing up many gateways. We're seeing charge on the way. Music is on. Okay, good. I did recently have to adjust some of my audio, so if you guys have audio feedback, let me know in the comments down below. A planetary fortress is going up for BenBot, going to be that anchor point. BenBot is a bot that sacrifices economy in order to just have that really defensive third base. Sometimes it bites BenBot in the butt when it gets out traded, but for now, I don't really mind the planetary at the third too much. A Widow Mine is planted at that fourth base location, potentially, which is a little nasty by BenBot, trying to pay it forward. Every bot gets their expansions blocked by Zerglings. BenBot is going to be paying it forward, blocking the potential bases of SharpenedEdge with Widow Mines, which is a very good strategy. Is if your opponent doesn't have it programmed how to deal with that, then you're going to be in a very good spot, as they just won't ever be able to expand. Now, SharpenedEdge does have observers, so I imagine it should be able to take that expansion whenever it decides to do so. There also is another base here that it could just take. SharpenedEdge is electing to move on out, though. BenBot has no intentions of doing so, as it's just pushing on out. Or BenBot is just macroing up, actually getting stim pack, but it's going to be a while before it builds up a big enough army before it really wants to do something. The Viking count is quite high for BenBot as well. 5 Vikings against 2 Colossus. That's a pretty good ratio for the Terran. And the Stalkers may be zoning out the Vikings a little bit. Still, though, that Colossus does go down. We are actually seeing SharpenedEdge try and break through here. One of the bunkers went down, but there's a second bunker out. Always go for a second bunker is the lesson from BenBot, as that potentially just saved its life there. It's like a Colossus and a Stalker are walking forward to this planetary. This Colossus definitely showed up on the wrong side of town, just gets annihilated by the Vikings, though. SharpenedEdge is still only on 3 bases as well. It really needs to secure up another one. And it's lost 1 probe. I'm not sure if that's a probe that's wandered into a Widow Mine or not. No, it doesn't look like it, so SharpenedEdge just hasn't even tried to take another base yet in this game. Meanwhile, BenBot is getting out its first battle cruiser. SharpenedEdge moves forward, kills off that observer. Very nicely done there. The Protoss bot still has quite a nice army, but breaking BenBot is just not something that comes easily. Like, BenBot, it's got multiple tanks, bunkers, Widow Mines, all the Vikings to counter the Colossus. We do have Disruptors on the way, which is cool for SharpenedEdge, but Disruptors don't exactly help out against battle cruisers, so that could be a little bit problematic here. Just gonna turn up the sound a little bit. Okay. Zealot and Stalkers crossing the map. There's a hallucinated Phoenix leaving the way. SharpenedEdge is moving out. If it could catch this 4th base, that would be huge. However, I get a feeling it's going towards the natural most likely. It's not often you see a bot that, oh, although SharpenedEdge, it does find the refinery, but no, it's just going for that natural base now. This is a massive Protoss army pushing forward. The Prism does get taken down, though, so there's going to be no reinforcements coming from that. There's also the battlecruiser. Zealots are getting forward. They're getting on top of the tanks, but they're not really targeting them down, and the bunker is soaking a lot of damage with that repair. Depots are falling for BenBot. It's still got plenty of supply to play with, though. And so these Stalkers, I think, are just going to have to go on home, most likely. Yeah, that is going to be the case. The Stalkers are getting shooed away. SharpenedEdge does have that 4th base up. The trades haven't been very good, though. 3,800 resources lost for BenBot to 8,700 for SharpenedEdge. The Protoss bot is making 4 workers at a time, but BenBot's on 4 bases of its own. +3 attack is on the way for SharpenedEdge. That will definitely help the Stalkers out against the battlecruisers. As long as SharpenedEdge is trying to push on into this natural, though, it really is playing into BenBot's playstyle. BenBot's even going to rebuild that wall. It's still got 2 bunkers up. Even got, oh gosh, what is that upgrade called? Oh, it's tied into building armor now to increase the size of those bunkers and planetary fortresses storage. Looks like SharpenedEdge is moving out on the map. It does seem to lack anti-air. Disruptors are actually going to hit the Vikings. One of the Vikings actually lifts up to dodge that, though. Very cool. And while this 5th base is quite vulnerable for BenBot, there is 2 BCs that really are unopposed as far as anti-air goes. SharpenedEdge, though, still may be able to potentially cancel or kill this. Looks like it will actually be a kill, as BenBot does not elect to lift that off. SharpenedEdge has just made a comical amount of Zealots right now. 20 Zealots moving out on the map. They're going to be able to potentially kill this planetary. They're not really targeting down the SCVs, though. There they go, actually getting a few of the workers, just kind of the ones they overlap with, which is good to see, but I think there is enough of them to actually repair this. But still, quite an effective attack by SharpenedEdge, killing off a good number of BenBot's SCVs, really denying the 5th base and tying up the Terran bot. Zealots are relatively cheap for that. We've got a 5th Nexus done for SharpenedEdge now, so it's going to be able to keep its economic party going. BenBot, though, is already floating over another command center with another one building. It wants to really keep those expansions coming on up. We'll see if SharpenedEdge can potentially move out and intercept this again, although its army is relatively small now after losing all those Zealots. The observers for SharpenedEdge actually have speed, so they're extra zoomy, which is cool to see. BenBot, while this is going on, is making triple battlecruiser. SharpenedEdge is making some Stalkers now. I am concerned, though, that I can't quite recall if SharpenedEdge was one of the bots that didn't actually build enough anti-air in some cases. So I'm curious if that'll happen in this match or not. Observer is moving to help clean out this Widow Mine. Is the Protoss going to get any units out there? It looks like the answer is not right now, because there's a Hellion being a nuisance, kind of splitting the attention of SharpenedEdge. You can see how it wants to pad some of its units one way, but then change their pathing. This poor probe is going to run right on into that Widow Mine, and it will indeed die. So another probe's going to have to get sent over there. Yeah, and SharpenedEdge, it is making Immortals. It's got out a couple of Archons. I'm not sure it's got enough anti-air, though, to deal with this fleet of battlecruisers. There's 6 BCs out for BenBot, soon going to be 8, as it continues to add on more of those, getting more and more upgrades as well. SharpenedEdge does have that 6th base on the way. In comes the Protoss bot, though, going to try and break this planetary. SCVs are being targeted down, so there's not an infinite amount of repair. The Immortals will pack some damage on this planetary. Here's all the BCs, though, trying to be heroes. There's not really any SCVs left to repair this, so the planetary does fall. That is a successful attack by the Protoss bot. SCVs are still repairing this 5th base, though, and BenBot has actually got another command center landed towards the middle, so redundancy in its expansions is really helping it out right now, because instead of being knocked down to, say, 3 bases, it's still got a 4th, and it's actually establishing that 5th base up. The lack of anti-air for SharpenedEdge is going to be problematic, though, as these battlecruisers really just have free reign, and so we do need to see a lot more Stalkers getting made for the Protoss. SharpenedEdge, I think, just needs to chill a little bit, get out quite a few more stalkers, and then maybe take things a little bit further. In come these battle cruisers, though, being a nuisance. They do get injured and teleport home eventually, but not before getting some great trades. It's 24,000 resources lost for the Protoss to 11,000 for the Terran bot. The stalkers are actually blinking forward aggressively now against the battle cruisers, which is interesting. But oh, there's 3 more and a bunch of Vikings rolling up. As BenBot, it teleports the BCs home, it repairs them, and then it sends them right back into the battle. Yamato Cannon will kill one of the few stalkers that SharpenedEdge has to defend against this. It's currently 4 stalkers to 9 battle cruisers, as SharpenedEdge triple expands, taking all the bases, and then just builds an Immortal, which is really not what it needs to do in the face of mass battle cruisers. So this is not ideal for the Protoss bot, as it takes a 4th Nexus. SharpenedEdge, it hasn't been super expansion hungry this game, apparently up until now, so I don't know what, maybe it's like a 15-minute mark trigger or something, I don't know. As, yeah, the timing on this expansion is not ideal. At least now that it's taken all the Nexus, it should, in theory, start making units again, and it is making some stalkers that can potentially help out and buy some time, even getting a Stargate now to counter battle cruisers. It's a very, very late Stargate, seeing as how BenBot already has 9 BCs, but who knows. The 2 Immortals definitely are not it, though. SharpenedEdge just needs to make stalkers, and I think this was a weakness in the bot last time I cast it having a hard time against the mass BCs because it didn't make enough anti-air. Right now it's trying to fight with 7 stalkers, banked on 9 stalkers in total against all these battle cruisers. That is not ideal. I mean, if it just stopped making the Immortals, it would have quite a few more stalkers out. That's not going to be the case, though, as all these stalkers just get melted by the BCs. And I think the snowball has kind of happened here. We're getting a single Void Ray on the way now, but you need basically 200 supply in order to deal with this much Terran. So SharpenedEdge definitely may need a little bit of work when it comes to countering this style of BenBot, as the Terran bot is kind of cleaning up all these bases. BenBot is now saying attack with tanks, so going to be sending everything. This will give SharpenedEdge a little bit of time as the Protoss bot cancels that Nexus, but still, yeah, it's making Immortals again. So SharpenedEdge may need to have a bit more of a dynamic composition. That's definitely not an easy thing to do, though, having a dynamic bot composition, because, like, there's just so many factors when it comes to telling your bot what to make. Having it build just a well-rounded composition with a few Immortals, some Stalkers, and Colossus is very practical, as it probably works a lot more than it doesn't, just when you are up against a Terran bot like BenBot that builds just mass battle cruisers. It is a bit of a flaw. A Void Ray comes forward. Unfortunately, there are 3 Marines that it's got to fight. That is not good for the Void Ray, and so Men with Gun will triumph over Alien Starship. And yeah, SharpenedEdge, it's falling down in probes, only 31 probes, making another Void Ray. Unfortunately, I do believe BenBot has got this one. I did see another game that was shorter between SharpenedEdge and BenBot, and SharpenedEdge actually did win it, which made me go looking for a longer replay. So it probably is. Sometimes the attacks work for SharpenedEdge, sometimes they don't. But BenBot definitely picked the right strategy here to take down SharpenedEdge. It was cool that the Protoss bot was close to killing off enough bases to maybe weaken BenBot, but in the end, the Terran bot, its defense and its expansion behavior really came through for it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watched all the way to the end of this one, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below, and leave a comment saying more bots if you want to see more bots. What was that? A piece of a probe or something? If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. We're just going to watch now as BenBot cleans up all these bases. The CC is going to start flying towards the bottom left. That's a long way to go. But BenBot, it has got this one in the bag, no doubt about it. And I do believe I've seen a game similar to this between SharpenedEdge and BenBot in the past. Battle cruisers, tanks moving forward, cleaning everything up. The probes are going to join the fight with a single cannon to support them. The cannon does at least kill a Marine. Well done, cannon. And now it's just 1 probe left. 1 Void Ray building. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how that game goes if SharpenedEdge maybe makes a few more Stalkers instead of Immortals. Maybe it would win this game. Of course, the Immortals are helpful when it comes to busting planetaries and stuff. Just, the battle cruisers were just too much, though. And so maybe having SharpenedEdge have like a designated anti-air sort of trigger or something saying like, hey, the opponent has more than like 5 air units or something. I should start building more Stalkers than Immortals. That kind of thing. It might help it win some more of these longer games. SharpenedEdge, having taken all the bases pretty much at the last minute, it has got quite a few assimilators that need to be killed off. But these are the last 2. And that is going to be that. I'll see you guys next time.